My next guest is the president of Young Women for America at Liberty University. I have to tell you, I met her this weekend. We were at a dinner for Michelle Bachmann, where some friends and I spoke about our book, What Women Really Want. And I met this young woman. I was unduly impressed with her. And I said, I want you to come on Smart Life because you're super cool. And so here she is, Chelsea Andrews. Welcome to the show. Good to have you.
Good to have you, or thank you for having me.
So one of the things that's happening is we look at Scotland, and Scotland has millennials voting in numbers like 90% in certain, I don't know if they call them precincts or what they call them, but in certain areas. What is the disconnect here? The numbers of millennials who are intending to vote this time around are nosediving as the months go by. What's happening? What's the difference here?
Well, I think you do have to note the fact that over in Ireland, they just had this this great new liberty movement that was going on. So here in America, millennials, as we're coming up to vote, voting is something that's been desensitized, I think, a little bit. And even further than that, the U.S. government has been disconnecting with the students that are my age. So especially here on college campuses, we've heard about voting for the last couple of years. It's not something that's a brand new movement that we're excited and energized about, when I think that we should be. But I think that on that particular issue, that needs to be noted.
So the millennial voters, now this is interesting because if they had been taken out of the picture in the last election, the last primary, very likely Hillary Clinton would have won Iowa, and very likely Hillary Clinton would have gone on to win the primary, and thus the course of history would have been changed. Hillary Clinton would be president today. So if they're not here this time, what do you foresee happening that could make a big difference?
I think that with the millennials rising as much as they are, we're going to be a fourth of the next voting block this next time of the presidential election. So I think that we do need to show up. But it's going to say something of that fourth of us that are going to be the grand majority of the voting. Only a fourth of that fourth of millennials are proposed to be voting at this point. So I think that says a lot for our country. We voted for Obama last time, and we need to show up. We need to vote differently this time around. So it just depends on if the students can engage or not, or if even the larger majority of millennials can engage.
CNN reports that trust in almost every institution surveyed has fallen among millennials since the last midterm campaign. Trust in the presidency down 12 percentage points to less than 1/3. Trust in Congress and the federal government also down 14 to 20%. And millennials believe that most elected officials are motivated by selfish reason. That number has increased from 54% in 2010 all the way up to 62% of millennials think that most politicians have a selfish motive. How can politicians assure millennials this time around? What is the narrative that needs to take place to say, hey, millennials, we're not all that bad?
Yeah. I think that politicians need to engage with us a little bit more. If you look at other stats, those are great stats. I've actually seen some of those even myself, so it's great that we're on the same level as I am a millennial. But a lot of the millennials that are turning out to campaign and the ones that are doing the phone banking, we're a majority of the staff for these politicians. So I think that something that they could do to greater engage us is to look at the issues that we're concerned about. So we are very concerned about social issues. That's something that the media focuses on primarily, whether or not same-sex marriage, legalizing marijuana. Those are the issues that everyone highlights. But we're concerned about jobs. We are concerned about the economy. A lot of millennials are getting college degrees, and they're going back and they're living with their parents because they can't find a job. So I think that if politicians focus on the economy, that is going to hit home with us, because that's where we are at this stage in our lives. As the millennials are transitioning into being young professionals with the age group that we are, we need the economy to be stabilized. And that's one area that I think if it was focused on with this next election cycle, that would be something that would connect with us specifically.
Millennial voters in an article by Town Hall said that they want Paul Ryan and Hillary Clinton in 2016. I have to tell you, this shocked me. First of all, I can't picture the millennial voter that wants Hillary Clinton. She seems like yesterday's news to me in a myriad of ways. But Paul Ryan surprised me too. I just don't, I don't get that. I would have really thought that millennials being more libertarian today, but on both the right and the left, it would have been a resounding Rand Paul, but no.
Yeah, that actually did surprise me as well. And I talked to some other students here on campus, and I said, "Hey, have you guys seen this article?" And we were a bit surprised. Here at Liberty University, where I go to college, during the last presidential cycle, we actually had a Romney and a Ryan rally very close to campus. We bussed students out. Everyone was very excited. I've even heard of some students that were on the Hill as staffers interning saying that Paul Ryan would go to the gym every morning, and he is the attractive candidate if you want to look at him that way. But I would say Rand Paul would probably be who most of the individuals that I've spoken to are supporting as well. He is interesting because he includes the moderates, he includes the conservatives, he includes the liberal, or excuse me, not the liberals, the libertarians. So he has all of those different polls, whereas a lot of different individuals don't. And I think even further than that, a lot of the students and people that I've been able to talk to and network with on my own, they're interested more in the governors instead of the congressmen, which is something that I haven't really heard anybody else highlight, because the governors are here on our level. They're doing more things that are state specific, whereas the congressmen have a disconnect. They're in DC, they're a minority within whatever chamber that they're in. And we see the governors here. We have an opportunity to get to know them better. So I think that individuals like Bobby Jindal, Scott Walker, Chris Christie, that's why those people are more appealing to us. So I think that should be noted as well.
Interesting. What do you think the turnout will be in the 2014 election among millennials, and why?
I really hope that we do turn out. It's something that is going to make a huge difference to us. And as a lot of millennials are moving forward in their careers, we're going to be affected more by healthcare, by all the different issues that you hear your parents talking about. But now it's on us. Now it's our turn to stand up and say, we're going to affect the lives that we're going to be living, and we need to turn out. I think that we didn't do it last time. And if you want to look retrospectively, it's something that should be weighing on our conscience. And if nothing else, that should be a motivating cause. So I would hope that we can engage. But as of this point, I really couldn't give you a definitive answer, unfortunately.
Very quickly, with just a minute or so remaining, one of the things that I've done, as you know, is travel around the country with my new book, What Women Really Want. And I've asked the question, what do women really want? It turns out that the vast majority of women, the number 1 and 2 things on their mind are national security and economic security.
Yes, ma'am.
How does that differ for millennial women?
Those would be my key points that I would definitely say. I want to make sure that my family is safe. I don't have my own children yet, but many millennials do. There are, there's an increase in teen pregnancy now, and there's a lot of women that are in their mid-20s, and they're looking at their children now. So it is something that we're considered about national security. And then also with the economy, we've already touched on that a little bit. We need job security. We don't want to be going back home and living with our parents. So I think that those are the top 2.
Great, Chelsea. Thank you. She is at Chelsea Andrews on Twitter. Chelsea Andrews, president of Young Women for America at Liberty University, affiliated with Concerned Women for America. Great organization. Love those ladies. Thanks so much for being with us, Chelsea, and all the best to you.